So hello guys, I'm here with a new presentation on Holocaust, the most important and most bizarre topic discussed. A hot debate is always there on Holocaust. So I will share some useful, some beneficial thoughts of mine about the Holocaust. Firstly, we will discuss about some of the background of Holocaust. Like it is said that the Nazis policies, the German social workers parties, the Hitlers and their companions, they were very ruthless in views and in actions against particularly a community in a word we today know as Jews. But what makes Nazis ruthless, and what are the conditions uh, that they produced hatred against the Jews? It is said that the age of imperialism from 1884 to 1914, that is the main platform that set the hatred, that set the ruthless policies of Nazis against Jews. And after that, what occurred to Jews, um, it's it's a hot topic still today. So we will discuss a journey through the Germany, Poland, and Czech Republic. First of all, we will discuss the Jewish population before the World War II. There were a population of 525,000 Jews in Germany, in today's Germany. After that, there's a country called Poland, and there were 30 lakh Jews, Polish Jews, and they were the most slaughtered Jews during the Second World War from Poland. After that comes Czechoslovakia. There were about 3 lakh and 57,000 Jews over there before World War II. After the total total Jewish population in Europe was 9.5 million, about 1.7% of the world population. Now, if you look at the history, the Nazism and the Nazis' ruthless policies were immensely growing, but countries were like spectators, especially the Britain and the French. They didn't say anything. They didn't they didn't made any barrier to their policies to counter their ruthless policies. Now there is a Holocaust survivor who quoted that monsters exist, but they are too few in number to be truly dangerous. More dangerous are the common man, the functionaries ready to believe and to act without asking questions. If you look at the second part of the code, the functionaries are ready to believe and to act without asking questions. So the last part of the sentence, ask or appeal for the research work. Functionaries are ready to believe and to act without asking question. You must ask question to clarify your mind. So now, what was the Holocaust? Actually, Holocaust was a period in the history at the time of World War II, from 1939 to 1945, when millions of Jews were murdered because of who they are. The killing was sponsored, or by, you may say, or was organized by Germany's Nazis party led by Adolf Hitler. The Jews were a main target of the Nazis, and the greatest number of victims were Jewish that were killed during the Holocaust era. Nearly every 7 out of 10 Jews were murdered because of their identity, just because who they are. Uh, it's not the case that the Nazis during the World War or during the Holocaust only killed Jews, but they also killed other group of peoples, including Roma, the Gypsies, and the disabled people. They also killed political opponents, like they also killed the prominent leaders of opposition parties to German Workers' Party. The Holocaust was an example of a genocide, and you may call it genocide, that is a deliberately killing a large group of people because of who they are, because of their ethnic group, because of their identity, because of their race, because of their religion. So we'll discuss further who were the Nazis. Actually, Nazis is the shortened name for the National Socialist German Workers' Party. The Nazis Party was a political party in Germany established in 1919 in the aftermath of World War I, when a devastating effect hit Germany. So they established a political party that gained an immense popularity during the Great Depression. During the era of 1920s, they gained an immense popularity. It grew in popularity through the 1920s as the country struggled with the fallout of World War One, or you may call it 1920, at the aftermath of World War One, the Great Depression. Now talking about the policies of Nazis, German social workers parties led by Adolf Hitler. So they were ruthlessly anti-Semitic. And anti-Semitic is something, a phenomena or a word now very commonly associated with the hatred, a type of hatred particularly toward the Jewish community. Nazis, they were ruthlessly anti-Semitic, and this affected all of their policies and actions. Like they were racist and believed that what they called Aryan race was important than others. The Nazis believed that Jews, Romas, black people, and other ethnic groups present there in Europe was inferior to Aryans. That is something they believe. So what we today know as racist. There were some important things to Nazis. There were three important things that were considered very immensely important towards the Nazis party, and that were the purity of Aryan race. Like most interesting thing is that the Nazis considered themselves from the Indian race, the Aryan race. That is something interesting. Number second, the greatness of Germany. They superficialize the greatness of Germany. Like Germany is so big and they have the right to rule over the entire world. Um, like due to immense propaganda and popularity, the peoples of Germany idolized the Führer, the Adolf Hitler, is that he is such a great man. He has the right. He has the power to hold to to rule the entire world. So, talking about the Nazis' persecutions, from the moment they came to power in 1933, the Nazis persecuted people who they don't think were worthy members of the society. Most notably, the Jewish population don't think they were worthy members of the society. Like, look at their mentality. Just think about their mentality. They also began to set up concentration camps. The most important achievement, or the most important things about the Holocaust era is the concentration camp, and it is a hot topic as well, where they could send people they believe to be enemies of the state or to be imprisoned and forced to work. This include Jewish people and anybody who did not support them. The first camp we call Tachau was opened in March 1933 just outside of Munich. Between 1933 and 1945, the Nazis created more than 40,000 camps in the area they controlled throughout the Europe. Now there are types of camp. Then there are work camps, there are transit camps, there are extermination camps. But the idea that was popular was extermination camps, and we generally called the concentration camp to the extermination camps. Work camps were like where prisoners performed different types of forced works. And talking about the transit camps, these camps were used to process process prisoners from one camp to another camp. Now, talking about the last and the most obvious one, the extermination camp, the first of which were opened in 1941, where Nazis could kill people in great number. Many people, obviously, many people were murdered by camp guards for no reason, for no obvious reason, and many more died as a result of the horrible conditions in them. Now, when the German Social Workers Party gained immense popularity, um, They were in belief that they have the right to control everybody live. The Nazis also set out to take control of everybody lives. In 1934, a new law called the Malicious Gossip Law was introduced, which made it a crime to tell an anti-Nazi joke. Like Jay's music was banned, textbooks were rewritten to contain Nazis' ideas, pictures of the Hitler were put up everywhere, and books were destroyed that were not written in ways that Nazis liked. Only in 1935, 1600 newspapers were closed down, and the one left were only allowed to print articles approved by Nazis. They set up compulsory groups for young people called Hitler Youth, for boys and beady young girls, so they would become young Nazis who idolized Hitler as they grew up. Boys were taught Nazis' values and prepared for war. Girls were taught skills like cookery and sewing, and many more. There is a famous night. There is a horrible, in sense of famous, crystal night and murder of millions. An important date was 9th of the November 1938, when there was a night of terrible violence against the Jewish people, particularly in Germany. It became known as the Crystal Night, the night of broken glass, due to all of the smashed glasses that covered the streets from shops that were raided by that were raided by the German Nazis forces. 91 Jews at that night were murdered, 30,000 were arrested and sent to the concentration camps. Now, when when Second World War was heading towards the final stage, now there were immense. There was some more population in the extermination camp that Nazis wanted to come up with the idea so that they kill all Jews at once. So they come up with a solution they known as final solution, and today we known as final solution as well. By the early 1940s, the Nazis were looking for a way that could kill a great number of people in short amount of time. In order to get rid of the Europe Jewish population, look at their mentality again. In order to get rid of Europe Jewish population, they came up with the idea of extermination camps in which they could kill a lot of people. This is what they would call the final solution. There were six extermination camps in the total an area of Poland controlled by the Nazis. The most famous and the most discussed one is Auschwitz camp, Birkenau, largest, Belzec, Chelmno, Majdanek, Sobibor, and Treblinka. Now, who was killed during the era of reign of terror or persecuted in Holocaust? We know the victims included the Roma and Semitic people that were in minority, Slavic peoples, Czechoslovakia, especially in the Soviet Union side, Poland and Yugoslavia. Disabled people were killed, gay people were killed, black people were killed, political opponents, particularly the Jewish and political opponent, were extremely and in large number killed. Now, if you think about the ending of Holocaust, what do you think? How did the Holocaust end? I will tell. As soldiers fighting against Germany in World War II, Britain, the US, the Soviet Union sent their allies, made their way across areas of Europe controlled by the Nazis. They began to discover the camps. The Nazis were not able even to hide what they had done, though, and it wasn't long before the world learned of the extent of the up to the extent of the Holocaust. Like Majdanek was the first camp to be freed in summer of the 1944. Now, the most important event of the Nazis' reign of terror comes to an end, and after that, were Nazis punished for the Holocaust, what they have done to the Jewish community, and what they have done to the other communities, other minority communities during the Second World War. Now, in the years since World War II, Nazis figures have been persecuted for their crimes. They have persecuted the top 10 military leaders, the chief of the German armed forces, their propaganda's masters, their extermination camps masters. They were all persecuted. They were all hanged in a trials we known as the Nuremberg German trials. Even as recently as in July 2015, a German court convicted 94-year-old Oscar Groening, who was a guard at Auschwitz. the famous Auschwitz camp, for his crime. But sadly, it wasn't possible to bring Adolf Hitler, the master behind the Holocaust, to justice for his crimes because he killed himself before the end of the World War II. Thank you very much. That was all about the summary of the Holocaust. Hope I hope so you have enjoyed it.